Ms. Wartell, when Secretary Donovan was here, he talked about the earlier books of business of the FHA of being really the source of some of the significant problems today. For example, he said fully $70 billion in claims are attributable to the 2007-2009 period. Beginning in 2010, for many reasons, the book seems to be a lot better. I think you refer to this as the diversification factor going forward. Can you comment about the significance of this factor as we contemplate changes?
Sure. In some ways, this is what I less eloquently trying to refer to when
You have the microphone on?
I'm sorry. It appears to be on.
It's
now.
on, yes.
This was what I was trying to describe when I was speaking with Senator Johnson. In all insurance, it is inevitably the case that there are times when the insurance portfolio is under stress. And what you're in essence doing is you are creating a strengthening of the fund in the times when it's not under stress to be ready for that moment. So it is almost always the case that you build up a reserve in times you effectively charge more. With FHA, it has the ability, at the time when private capital flees, better quality credit risks are left in the market unattended by the private institutions because they are so risk sensitive when they're under pressure, and that allows FHA to serve more of that market and replenish its fund. And former FHA Commissioner John Weicker, who's now at the Hudson Institute, has drawn the parallels between what happened in 1980 between 80 and 82, where FHA took an enormous bath, had claims that even for much smaller books have been well in excess to what they experienced in 2007, and yet they had this significant success in rebuilding the capital strength in the years after as the economy improved, and he was predicting we'll see a similar pattern.
Well, thank you very much. Ms. Thomas, thank you for your testimony. The realtors are sort of on the front lines of all these issues, and yeah, I was particularly struck by the FICO scores of people being turned down. They used to be sort of the ones that you were looking for first. But you suggest, I think, in your testimony that FHA has provided valuable sort of assistance for this recovery, and we're not quite there yet. Could you elaborate on that point?
Sure. As I said, the FHA average FICO score is 699, and the denial is at 670. But in the private side, the average is 763 and denying at 734. So it's very, very high, as you mentioned. Without FHA being there, we would have been in a world of hurt. I mean, we would have seen, the equity fall another 25%. That would have been devastating to the economy. We're climbing out of it now, and the private capital is not back in yet. And a lot of that is just because of the regulatory uncertainty out there, and they don't know what they're facing. And so until we get, things to a certain standard, I don't think we're going to see private capital come back in. They haven't come back in the condo market. They haven't come back in the high-end market as yet. I mean, if you go above FHA's upper limit, you have to put 40% down. It isn't, a normal 20% down. And so that's telling you that the private capital isn't coming back in yet in any way that would be sustainable.
Thank you very much. And just quickly, Mr. Stevens, there have been some suggestions that the FHA, in fact, they've requested the authority to transfer mortgage servicing to a mortgage servicer better equipped to handle loss mitigation so that they can be not just foreclosing, et cetera, but actually helping people through this. Do you have any comments about this since your experience as a former director, administrator?
So we've seen this with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae transferring servicing as well, some voluntary, some not voluntary. I do believe in the end of the day that given the fact that FHA retains the risk, and Ginnie Mae explicitly with the guarantee, with the insurance coming from FHA, that the ability to manage the quality of the servicing portfolio is absolutely critical. So with the right measures in place and the right balances to ensure that it's done in an appropriate way, and with the resources to do the oversight, which is the biggest risk to having them take on more responsibility, I would support a measure along those lines, absolutely.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stevens. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.